86 in Fulton.
Tonight.
Investigators uncover new evidence that further suggests the New Year's Eve hotel fire in Puerto Rico was not an accident, but a case of mass murder.
This is INN, the Independent News, with Marvin Scott.
Good evening. It had been suspected since the flames began to flicker in the DuPont Plaza Hotel Wednesday night. Now, officials are saying publicly what they hoped would not be so. That mounting evidence is pointing to arson as the likely cause of the fire which killed 95 people and left 100 others injured. Without being specific, San Juan Police Superintendent Carlos Lopez Feliciano said we now have a lot of important pieces of the jigsaw. Governor Rafael Hernandez Colon told some reporters today evidence he has points to the possibility that hotel security guards or union workers were behind the fire. Union workers at the hotel had just taken a strike vote before the fire erupted. Union officials have vehemently denied involvement, and they have put up a $15,000 reward for information on the cause of the blaze. The big mystery is how the fire spread so rapidly. Some reports say highly flammable oxygen may have been pumped into the casino to keep gamblers from sleeping. That's a standard practice in some casinos in the United States. 85 of the victims died in the casino, most of them found stacked near doors. Hotel management denied today reports that doors had been locked after the fire broke out. Investigators also looking into a report that an hour before the fire, police were tipped off that a bombing or other form of attack was imminent. But when officers showed up at the hotel, they were turned away by security guards who reported there were no problems. As funeral services were being held for some of the dead in San Juan today, lawyers for the families of at least 18 of those killed arrived, saying they will file lawsuits seeking damages of at least $10 million for each victim. On another continent, other rescue workers faced the grim task of counting bodies today after a Brazilian airliner went down shortly after takeoff, killing 49 of the 51 people aboard. Apparently, the pilot was making a futile attempt to return to the airport when the plane crashed in flames in dense forest near the city of Abidjan on the Ivory Coast of West Africa. Louise Bates describes the scene as devastating.
Wreckage from the airliner was still burning when rescuers reached the crash site 11 miles northeast of the capital. As the plane came down, it cut a swathe through dense rainforest. It had taken off from the Port Brue International Airport with 51 passengers and crew on a regular flight to Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. Shortly after takeoff, the pilot reported that fire had broken out in one of the 4 engines. He said he was turning back to make an emergency landing. Seconds later, the Boeing 707 exploded. Wreckage and charred bodies were strewn over a wide area. No one was expected to have escaped alive. 49 passengers and crew had perished, but miraculously 2 passengers had survived. Both had been extensively burned and had to be carried out of the jungle to a nearby rubber plantation, where helicopters were standing by to fly them to hospital. This man, a Senegalese, had been thrown clear of the wreckage. Rescuers found him after hearing his moans. Although his condition was critical, he was still able to speak. But he could remember nothing of the crash and just wanted to know what happened. As medics battled to save the man's life, the husband of another, less fortunate passenger reached the crash site. Most of the victims were French. The others were Brazilian or from Cameroon, Senegal, and the Ivory Coast.
The victims also included one American, identified only as L. Cleveland, hometown, not immediately known. In South Africa, a skyscraper has been damaged. 3 people have been badly injured after a bomb explosion in downtown Johannesburg. The explosion, which came from a raised flower bed, is believed to have been the work of the African National Congress, whose guerrillas are fighting to overthrow South Africa's white-led government. The blast broke nearby windows, knocking mortar off of a skyscraper. This is the country's first bomb blast in more than 7 weeks. And still ahead tonight on the Independent News, picking up the pieces. Residents of the Northeast clean up after a massive storm front battered the East Coast.
The Independent News, brought to you by Whirlpool.
Your days go by fast. Your work never seems to end.
That's why we stand behind every Whirlpool appliance with our 24-hour Cool Line telephone service to help with problems or questions, and our national network of authorized tech care service outlets. Whirlpool, quality appliances.
We're making your world a little easier. Whirlpool makes it easier for you.
The golfer and the homemaker have something in common. We call it athlete's back. That sudden minor back pain that comes from overused muscles. New Doan's ibuprofen backache pills contain the most modern pain relief medicine you can buy without prescription.
Relieving back pain doesn't have to be hit or miss.
Ibuprofen has worked for millions.
New Doan's works directly on minor back pain to relieve it in the early stages.
New Doan's helps put your athlete's back in action fast.
Do high furniture prices leave you cold? Shop Gaines Furniture Outlet for super hot prices on quality furniture. Choose from hundreds of living room groups starting at only $149. Solid wood bunk beds as low as $39. Classy oak and brass dinettes only $149. And 6-piece pine groups only $199. Plus hundreds of other specials at 70% savings. And you still get a free TV with your special purchase at Gaines Furniture Outlet, 7414 South Cicero, Ford City West, behind Aldi's.
Come and get it while it's hot.
A washed-up star.
I'm not an actor anymore, you understand?
A stranger in Hollywood.
I'm your greatest fan.
A second chance.
How can I go in front of a camera?
An impossible comeback.
Forget, I can't do this!
This whole production is bizarre.
Darren McGavin.
He's mythic.
A star. Beyond the stars.
They're out there.
Tales from the dark side.
Tonight at 10 on Channel 9.
President Reagan made a bit of fiscal history today when he signed the nation's first proposed budget topping $1 trillion. The proposed budget will be unveiled Monday, but the president used today's radio address to defend it beforehand.
We will spend more than ever for America's elderly, for law and drug enforcement, for AIDS research, for health care, and for air traffic safety. And in one vital area, defense, we'll be stopping a dangerous slide.
The Democrat-controlled Congress is expected to reject most of the proposal, which looks a lot like Mr. Reagan's previous budgets. It includes drastic cuts in domestic programs such as education, aid to families and children, and farmers. And it includes an increase in defense spending, 3% after inflation, as well as $100 million for the Nicaraguan Contras. There are no new taxes planned. But the president says he'll be able to trim the deficit as required by law and raise new revenues through the sale of government assets and user fees on portable phone frequencies. The president is reported to be in pretty good spirits about going into the hospital tomorrow. In the morning, the 75-year-old president will undergo what is considered routine surgery to reduce an enlarged prostate, problem quite common in men of Mr. Reagan's age. While at the hospital, at Bethesda Naval Hospital, the president will also have a checkup for any recurrence of colon cancer. California's Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant has been shut down after a smoldering fire ignited in the complex. Officials say the fire started late yesterday when oil leaked into a hot pipe of a hydroelectric turbine in a non-nuclear part of the plant. Officials stressed the shutdown was taken simply as a precaution and said there was no danger of any radiation escaping. The controversial plant opened in 1985 after a decade of litigation and cost overruns. Tonight, the Northeast is recovering from a furious winter storm, made more so by a rare celestial tug-of-war that created the highest tides in 20 years. In New England, coastal residents resorted to commercial water, moving equipment to pick up boulders and seawalls smashed by the pounding waves. Before moving out to sea, the storm dumped more than a foot of snow on parts of Massachusetts, Vermont, and New York, and up to 2 feet in New Hampshire. And where it did not snow, it rained until it flooded, swamping streets with several feet of water, washing away much of New Jersey's beach sand and a summer home on Long Island. The storm is being blamed now for at least 18 deaths. Meanwhile, a powerful winter storm is now battering the West Coast to the delight of some anxious ski buffs out there. And still ahead on INN, the Redskins go on the warpath. The NFL playoffs produce one upset and one cliffhanger.
Plaque. It's not something you want on your teeth. But if you smoke, it can be worse, because tar and nicotine stains on smokers' teeth can be trapped by plaque deposits that form regularly. Regular brushing with Topol helps remove tar and nicotine stains. And now, a new clinical study shows brushing with Topol helps remove plaque. Use Topol Smoker's Tooth Polish. It fights tar and nicotine stains, and it fights plaque.
Now, save $1. Look for specially marked packages of Topol at participating retailers.
For tough household odors, I challenge anybody to find a better spray than Arm & Hammer Deodorizer Spray.
It's the only spray with the power of baking soda.
I use this in my refrigerator and in my freezer, and I can use the spray in the bathroom and in the kitchen because it can be used around food, in the baby's room. It smells clean. It takes away the odors. It doesn't just cover them up.
Arm & Hammer Deodorizer Spray with baking soda.
I love the fact that it's in a spray.
I'm here at New York's 5th Avenue and 47th Street, the diamond capital of the world.
Excuse me, miss. What would you pay for this stunning 1-carat cocktail ring?
Oh, it's beautiful. I'd say $1,200. $800 or $900 at least.
I'm in the business, and it looks like a $1,000 ring to me.
Yes, this beautiful ring with 1 full carat of fiery faux diamonds in a designer setting layered in genuine 14-karat gold might cost $1,000. But you don't pay $1,000 or even $100 because right now Pools 5th Avenue is giving away $1 million worth of rings for just $19.95 each. But wait, if you're one of the first 1,000 people to call right now, you'll also get this beautiful faux Alaskan black diamond ring and this brilliant 1-carat solitaire ring and these tritone rings, all layered in 14-karat gold and all yours for just $19.95. And that's not all. We'll also send you this exquisite faux pearl ring, this 18-inch necklace, and these lovely earrings. Yours free even if you return your $1 million rings for a prompt refund. All this just $19.95 complete, but only if you're one of the first 1,000 people to call right now.
Wow, what a bargain. How do I order?
To order $1 million rings, call 1-800-523-2000. If busy, call 1-800-453-4907. To save COD fee, use your credit card or send $19.95 plus $3 shipping and handling to $1 Million Ring, 321 East William, Suite 100, Wichita, Kansas. Offer is limited to the first 1,000 people who call now. 1-800-523-2000 or 1-800-453-4907.
On the INN Health Beat, surgery for the hearing impaired, when hearing aids can't break through the silence.
INN's Health Beat is brought to you by Advil.
Since the new year, the government has begun approving more frequent use of a device called the cochlear implant. The operation involves installing a man-made cochlea, the seed of the hearing organ, into people who are partially or totally deaf. As Christy Whitker reports, the operation is giving an entirely new world to the young and the very old.
A world with no sound. An ambulance drives by, but you can't hear the siren. This is how it was for Dory Gerke, who has been almost totally deaf for the past 20 years. But on November 11th, Mrs. Gerke, now 85, became the oldest person to receive a cochlear implant. During the surgery at NYU Medical Center, Dr. Noel Cohen inserted a platinum wire containing 22 tiny electrodes inside her inner ear. Then, under the skin, behind the ear, he placed a tiny electronic package which contains an antenna. After the surgery, Mrs. Gerke wears a headband with a little microphone inside. That microphone picks up sound and carries it down an external wire to a Walkman-like device called a wearable speech processor.
This is a computerized device that takes the sound, breaks it up into signals, and sends it back up the wire to this little transmitter coil. This transmitter sends radio frequency waves to the buried device to each of 22 electrodes, and the patient hears something.
Mrs. Gerke will work with a speech therapist for several months. However, she says, no matter what problem she faces with the cochlear implant, life is a lot better than it was before.
You see, I knew that little bit of hearing which I had with a hearing aid, that was going down, down, down all the time. I knew before long I wouldn't have heard anything. So this way I will be able to hear.
The FDA has recently approved clinical trials of the cochlear implant on children between the ages of 2 and 10. Beginning January 1st, 8 hospitals across the country can perform this surgery on those children who are totally deaf and can't be helped by hearing aids. For the Independent News, I'm Christy Whitker in New York.
And still ahead, everyone thinks their daughter is a real doll, but some people are carrying it to new extremes. We'll meet a woman who makes a living turning people's daughters into real dolls.
INN's Health Beat was brought to you by Advil.
When you have arthritis, mornings can be nightmares. Some days it hurts just to put on a watch.
Today, people are turning from aspirin to Advil for hours of relief from minor arthritis pain. Advil contains a non-prescription strength of ibuprofen, the medicine doctors have prescribed over 130 million times in prescription brands like Motrin.
Advil works for hours, and that makes mornings much easier.
For minor arthritis pain, muscle aches, even headaches, Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Nice night.
Yeah.
In recent clinical studies, one group used Scope, and another group used Lavoris. The results? Even after 3 hours, Lavoris was more effective than Scope at reducing bad breath. We always knew Lavoris with zinc chloride was more effective than Scope. To appreciate how much more effective Lavoris is, we suggest you do your own field research.
Morning is your time. The earth wakes up with you. Always feel that spark of life in everything that you do.
Grape nuts. For you, it's as natural as the morning. No sugar added, no preservatives. Just an honest, nutty crunch. Post Grape Nuts cereal. You know when you have it good.
Yes, you know when you have it good.
Chrysler's chairman, Lee Iacocca, has filed for divorce from his second wife less than 9 months after the couple walked down the aisle. The 62-year-old tycoon married Peggy Johnson, a former flight attendant, after a 2-year engagement. Miss Johnson is 35. Grounds for the divorce have not been made public. All dressed in white, the first black woman to be chosen Miss America married the man who helped her through controversy and scandal. Vanessa Williams, who renounced her title in 1984 after Penthouse magazine published pictures of her in the nude, has tied the knot with her publicist, Ramon Hervey. The 23-year-old beauty queen has recently enjoyed success as a singer and actress. The couple had been engaged for about 1 year. It's rock and roll that packs a mean message. One Chicago teenage girl has taken to rock music to tell other young girls not to rush into sex. And the song has become something of a hit, as Pat Harvey reports.
Stop, don't go any further. Stop and think about the future. We've got life ahead of us, and we can make it last. And we're growing up too fast.
It's not top 40, but this song, entitled Too Fast, was a hit for local sophomore Jacqueline Merrick. The 16-year-old won first place in a statewide teen songwriting contest about teenage pregnancy. This professional recording you're hearing now was part of the prize. But why a song about teen sexuality?
The thought was that teens listen most closely to other teens and to rock music and rock music DJs. And what better way to reach teens than through their own words and medium?
The words to these songs over here are thought-provoking enough in order to make kids think about what they're doing.
There's an excellent chance of that happening. The recording will hit the airwaves in mid-January in at least 10 cities. Jackie, as she's called by friends, attends Maria High School on the southwest side. She says she wrote the lyrics to her song in response to the pressure that teens often experience about the choices of teen sexuality.
A lot of teenagers are pressured more into giving in. And hopefully what I was trying to get through from the song was that it's okay not to give in, and you should wait and think about what can happen.
Jackie hopes to have a songwriting career in her future. She wrote Too Fast in only 2 hours, but hopes her message will last a lifetime.
When all is said and done, 'cause you'll become a parent, the father of my son.
Pat Harvey.
And we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Veterans, have you called yet for your free copy of the 1987 Guide to Veterans Benefits?
I'm Roger Staubach. Are you personally up to date on all the government benefits available to you? Loans, help with education, medical and dental benefits, insurance. This valuable publication tells you who's eligible, what's available, where to apply. If you're a veteran, call this toll-free number right now. You'll get this 1987 guide to veterans benefits absolutely free. Find out what government benefits you're entitled to collect. If you're a veteran, there's no cost and no obligation. All it takes is one quick phone call. You owe it to yourself and your family to get the facts, so call now.
Veterans of all ages, call 1-800-548-3300. That's 1-800-548-3300. The benefit guide is free, and so is the call. That's 1-800-548-3300. Call now.
A beautiful oil painting in an exquisite frame. In a gallery, you could pay as much as $1,000 for paintings like these. But this Sunday only at a spectacular showing by Collector's Art, you'll be able to buy oils like you see here for a fraction of those high gallery prices. Plus over 3,000 paintings to be sold out from $14 to $39. Incredible! This Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Arlington Heights at the Arlington Park Hilton, in Hillside at the Holiday Inn, in Oak Lawn at the Hilton, in Homewood at the Sheraton, in Skokie at the Holiday Inn, in Waukegan at the Sheraton, and in Maryville, Indiana at the Holiday Plaza.
The Independent News, brought to you by the General Foods Corporation.
It is an artistic labor of love. The task is to restore the delicate and beautiful frescoes painted by Michelangelo inside the Sistine Chapel. But as Ursula Malone reports, the restoration project has also stirred up quite an artistic controversy.
For the past 6 years, the painstaking task of restoring the frescoes of Michelangelo has been going on in the Vatican's Sistine Chapel. The paintings were completed by the Italian master more than 450 years ago and were hailed as his finest work. But the years of grime and dust have taken their toll, and it was decided to embark on a clean-up operation. The restoration team, due to complete the project next year, had no idea of the controversy they were about to stir up in the art world. Historians say the operation has changed the character of the artist's work and could even have damaged the frescoes. A claim denied by the man behind the restoration, Fabrizio Mancinelli.
A number of people are concerned about the change that has taken place recently. Some people think that during the cleaning we remove also the secco part made by Michelangelo. Now the point is that we didn't find any secco part, any part painted in tempera on the lunettes, but we are finding them on the ceiling. The tondi, for example, are painted a secco, and there are some pentimenti, what we call pentimenti changes, made in the same manner.
In our USA Tonight notebook, the Federal Aviation Administration has decided to take another look at a strange sighting over the skies of Alaska. The crew of a Japan Airlines cargo jet observed strange white, yellow, and amber lights in its flight path and made evasive maneuvers. Ground controllers also saw a blip on their radar scopes, but soon it disappeared. The crew of the jet said the lights followed the aircraft for about 400 miles, the better part of an hour, then disappeared. Was it a UFO? Well, no one's saying for sure. Originally, the November sighting was dismissed as something unexplainable. Now the FAA says it's looking further because whatever it was that was out there was in violation of U.S. airspace. Turning to sports, today in the NFL, the playoff bash continued with each conference staging a semifinal contest. In the AFC, the New York Jets were hosted by the favored Cleveland Browns. The game offered a little of everything, but not enough of something for the Jets.
In the first quarter, New York put the razzle and dazzle and the flicker back and flee to open the scoring as Freeman McNeil throws the ball back to Pat Ryan, who fires it to Wesley Walker just in time. This put the Jets up 7-0. Not to be outdone, Cleveland comes back on its next possession with a big play of their own. Bernie Kosar spots Herman Fontenot all by his lonesome, but that quickly changed as Fontenot took it in the end zone and found all the friends he'll ever need. The teams were tied at 10 at the half, and the Jets led 13-10 in the fourth when Freeman McNeil went wide right, 25 yards right into the end zone. The Jets led 20-10, and with 4 minutes to play, seemed to have things under control. However, that was not the case. After a touchdown against the soft Jet defense, the Browns got the ball back and tied it up on this Mark Mosley field goal to send the game into overtime. In the first overtime period, Mosley missed the mark from 23 yards. But before Browns fans could organize a posse, the kicker got another chance, this in the second overtime, and made good from 27 yards.
The Browns were winners 23-20. Mark Mosley goes from GOAT to hero, and the Jets go from Cleveland to New York to clean out their lockers. Their season is over. In the NFC, are you sitting down for this one? The mighty Chicago Bears were the victims of an upset at the hands of the visiting Washington Redskins. The Bears' season, along with their hopes of repeating as world champions, blew away this afternoon in the Windy City.
The Redskins took the early lead as Jay Schrader hit Art Monk for 28 yards to go up 7-0. But early in the second, the Bears came storming back as Doug Flutie connected with Willie Gault, and the score was tied. The Bears led 13-7 at the half. But what would be the winner for Washington came in the third, as Schrader again hit Monk in seclusion in the end zone. That made it 14-13 Skins, and they stifled the Bears' offense for the remainder while adding 13 more points to extend their season 27-13.
So the refrigerator, William Perry, can now defrost while the rest of the Bears start an early hibernation. Guess you could say goodbye, Barbie. Move over, Ken. There's a new doll on the block, and it's capturing the hearts and bank accounts of today's generous parents. Alistair Clark reports on the West German doll maker who's making dolls out of even the naughtiest boys and girls.
This woman is making a fortune out of other people's children. Annette Himstead has hit on the novel idea of making dolls from real live models. All she needs is a color photograph of a child, and 2 months later doting parents will be $10,000 the poorer, but they will have a lasting reminder of their offspring. Her order book is bursting with would-be customers who want an exact replica of the apples of their eyes, and that's what they get. Every feature painstakingly scrutinized before being chiseled onto the porcelain doll. Eyes are matched up, complexions colored in, and hairstyles reproduced which will evoke memories long after the child has grown to adulthood. Annette comes from Paderborn in West Germany and reckons she's made at least 100 dolls during the past 8 years. They come in all sizes and colors. They may not be walking, talking dolls, but they do have the advantage of never growing old. Karen Koch modelled for her doll when she was 8. Now 3 years older, her look-alike has lost none of its bloom. Parents, it seems, are willing to pay anything to hold on to their offspring's childhood.
Well, I guess I know now what my daughter's going to ask for next Christmas. And that's the Independent News for this Saturday, January 3rd. I'm Marvin Scott. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good night and a great Sunday.
Deborah Carr, Barry Bostwick, and Jenny Seagrove star in the television premiere of Barbara Taylor Bradford's A Woman of Substance.
Tuesday night at 7 on Channel 9.
Miss Bailey, what is the best kept dress secret in town?
I don't know. What is it, Mr. Began?
It's our party dresses. $100 dresses for $29. What have you got, Miss Bailey?
Well, I have a $200 dress for only $50.
And have you got sizes to fit them this big and this small?
We have every size.
And every price savings there is. That's why we are an extraordinary store. Designers Mart, 111 East Ontario.
And 16 West Washington.